Hello, my name is Renate McNay and you're watching Conscious TV. My guest today is Katie Davis. Hello, Katie. Katie wrote a book, Awake Joy, and we are going to talk with her about her life and her journey and her work. So, Katie, the first question, it's actually in front of the book I have, is what is the essence of enlightenment?
It's always and forever here. It's who you are. And in fact, that is the only essential question, is who are you really right now? Mm-hmm. As we're sitting here, enjoying one another, what is deeper here? The essence, rather than the form identity.
Right. Mm-hmm. When I read your story, I read your book over the last days, and before you awakened, you never asked yourself the questions, who I am. Your awakening just happened, spontaneous.
Yes, I'd never heard of awakening. Yeah. I'd never heard of enlightenment.
Yeah.
I'd never meditated.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, I can see that as far as the life situation is concerned, that there was this natural opening along the way from the time of being very tiny, becoming present in the body through the type of business that I was involved in.
Yeah.
And
would you tell us which business that was?
Well, originally I was a French teacher.
Yes.
But the changes started occurring when I opened this aerobics business. Mm-hmm. And I had been in dance my whole life. And with the teaching of the aerobics, there had to be an inward focus, not really inside, but of how the body feels and moves. Mm-hmm. And so the shift was from outside to sort of inside.
Yeah.
Not really what I call the inside of the inside. But, and I try to share with people that virtually every moment, just ordinary life, is showing us the way. Mm-hmm. The teacher is everywhere. It's life itself. And if we would just pay attention to it, especially when we're awakening, we tend to separate out a satsang experience or being with a teacher,
yes,
and then leave that moment and enter ordinary life. Mm-hmm. And, that teacher's within us always, but it's also presenting itself constantly. Mm-hmm. If we can be present and open, really open to the unknown.
It's just so easy to forget to be present.
Well, the mind wants to.
The mind comes in and takes us away, and
yes, and it's such an ingrained habit, living that way.
Yes,
your entire life. Of course, we have lived with this primary delusion of being this separate sense of self ever since our parents taught us to point to the body and say, I.
We were programmed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
And then that individual sense of self projects itself as constantly in time, hardly ever present.
Yes.
Unless there's some beautiful circumstance where the veil falls away a bit. Mm-hmm. But it's only a habit.
It is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A big habit.
Yeah.
So everything started in an aerobic class you gave, and you had a runner's high. Mm-hmm. Could you explain what happened?
That was actually not an unusual experience. It was rare.
Yeah.
And I'm sure many of our listeners have experienced that. And I need to point out also that there's nothing causal in what I'm saying, that a runner's high did not cause this or that, but whenever you are present in this manner and the mind drops, in that particular instant, everything shifted into slow motion.
Yes.
And perhaps if you've ever come close to an automobile accident, or maybe during one of these, the latest trend of trance dancing, there's this, every time warps and slips into slow motion. And just beyond that thin and almost trance-like veil, the pure eye of this divine is actually courting you. And if you're caught, it's a miracle. This isn't something that, and it's you.
Yes.
It's not something that you need to search for and find. It's quite helpful to step out of time.
Yes, but you also mentioned in the book that doing all this aerobic, and you were a ballerina and you worked for many, many years with your body, that this was important in your opening, or you felt then that this was important.
Yes, in retrospect, I do feel that, and continue to, that the body is of primary importance. It is a wonderful tool for stepping out of time, the false mind-made self, into the body, because the body is always here and now. So if you're conscious of it and fully feeling it,
in other words, if you
present.
inhabit your body,
Yes.
which a lot of us don't do because we are so caught up here.
And then referring to that aerobic stay, suddenly there just emerged this mysterious and profound sacredness that seemed unbelievable to the mind. It was almost like I was sensing a new dimension. And as you can imagine, that made me intensely alert. What is this? And out of the blue, in a single instant, I was swept completely out of the body and was falling. This is just the story that we're speaking of here.
But the fascinating story.
Through this amazing stillness. And then all conscious experience vanished.
So you were reabsorbed by the absolute, I guess. And your body, you said...
I was fully who I am, beyond consciousness and beyond unconsciousness. And when consciousness reappeared, I was no longer sourced in the body. Here I was with a business named, an aerobics business named Body by Katie. And in an instant, I had neither body nor Katie. It was quite bewildering. I had no idea what had occurred. The body was somehow far above me and seemingly unaffected.
So there was
and
no
still teaching aerobics.
And there was no reference. You all of a sudden didn't have any reference point.
Right.